Hey everybody, Joy here. I know, I'm just as shocked as you are. Jerry had to go to the doctor, just his yearly checkup thing, no big deal, he's perfectly healthy. And I just thought, the house is quiet, except for the dryer. Our dryer here sounds like there's an airplane in the laundry room. It's so loud when it's spinning. I hope you can't hear it. But I thought, you know, I guess I should make a video and tell everybody about my Christmas. I got two super nice gifts. Not expensive at all. But Jerry got them for me. I kind of suggested them, but you know how you are when you're my age, you forget. And so I was really surprised that he remembered and that he got them for me. And they're just little things, but I'm gonna put them both in my Amazon store. They're so wonderful. If you don't already have them, you have to get them. I'm just telling you, you have to get them. You remember a few videos back, I told you how I ordered a dresser. I'm not using it in a bedroom for a dresser. I'm using it in my entryway for a big cabinet to put my sewing stuff in. But I wanted to make the money to pay for it with my YouTube channel. So I was watching my videos on our TV. I don't usually ever watch them. It's boring to watch yourself. So I had them on. I actually got a nice check last month. And if you watched my videos and you watch the commercials, thank you very much. Because I'm going to be able to pay for my cabinet when it comes on Friday. So I'm real happy about that. But for Christmas, you know, those of you who have been following me for years, you know I can't hardly talk about Christmas without bawling. Because we never see our kids or our grandkids or our great-grandkids, and it's a heart punch every year. And this year it was a worse heart punch than usual because for one day we thought it was going to be different. We got a phone call and we thought it was going to be different this year. And I was so excited. I was on cloud 1 trillion. I was so excited after the phone call. You know, we're building the barn, so there's always construction people out there. And I went running out there to find my nephew, and I said, Jeffrey, you won't believe what happened. I was dancing around with him. I was so excited. And I told him about the phone call, and he was hugging me. He was saying how happy he was. And the next day I was making all kinds of plans. You know, I was going to decorate a lot more. I was going to get gifts. I was going to do all these things. I was going to cook a big dinner. And then the day after that, it all came crashing down. So this was maybe 2 weeks before Christmas. And, you know, my personality, I'm either very on cloud 1,000 or I'm down in the deepest valley. And so the next 2 days I was in the deepest valley in tears and just heartbroken. It took me 2 days with the love of my husband and the love of my nephew to get out of that and get back to let that go. Let that go. Don't let yesterday ruin today. So I went on just planning usual Christmas for me and Jerry with nobody else in it. Yes, my sister's here. Yes, her 4 boys are here with their families. But, you know, that's her family. And I assumed that her kids would be with her, you know, at her house. They would be doing Christmas together. And I didn't plan on being involved with any of them, although I love them all very much, and I changed most of their diapers when they were little. So, but I just didn't plan on anything, nothing. Didn't say, hey, why don't you all come here for Christmas? Why don't you come the day before? Why don't you come the week after? Why don't you? I did nothing. But, I'm gonna try to tell you this without crying. Why are you in your kitchen? Because I want to show you what I got for Christmas. But what I just told you is a lot of the reason I haven't been making videos. And I started watching my videos because I wanted, you know, more money when I get my check on the 21st every month from YouTube. I wanted it to be more than $100. So I was watching them and I thought, every same. I just sew and I quilt and I sew and I quilt and I sew and I quilt. And I thought, people must be bored to death watching me by now. All I ever do is the same thing. And so I was, you know, half done already. And then I thought, I'm just not going to make any more videos for a while. You know, people need a break. And I need something new to talk about. And I actually have something new to talk about, but I'm not going to talk about it today. I think the last thing I told you about was DTF. All right, so let's go back to my Christmas, but let's take a little break right here. So before I get into telling you how I ended up spending Christmas with a real bear, let me show you my two super favorite Christmas presents that my husband got me. I love poached eggs. My whole life, as long as I can remember, I have made poached eggs by getting a pan, filling it with water, boiling it, stirring it, and then breaking my egg into it. And then when it's cooked, take it out with a spoon and dab it on a paper towel to get the water off of it, and then put it on my toast. That's how I've always done poached eggs. Well, I saw this somewhere. Oh, I know where I saw it. There's this gorgeous girl. She's got hair this long. Her name is Shay Whitney. And if you don't already belong to her channel, you're the only one on the planet. She has a YouTube channel. And she was showing really cool Christmas gifts. And this was one of the ones she showed, and so I told Jerry about it. So what it does is it cooks eggs. And it can hard boil eggs. It can soft boil eggs. It can make an omelet, or it can make poached eggs. We have made soft boiled, hard boiled, and almost every morning I do poached. I love this thing. It could not be easier. Got a little bit of water in it because I just washed it from this morning. Could not be easier. So you see this little bottom, this is the heating, the hot part, this part you plug in. This is what gets hot. And it's got this little bowl here, stainless steel, that boils water. Okay? So it's got that. Then it's got this tray that you put your eggs in. And if you're going to make hard-boiled eggs, you have to put this little handle thing in here. It's just plastic. It's not very expensive. So you put that like that, and you put this like this, and then you get an egg. Let me get an egg. Here's a brown one that I hard-boiled. When I hard-boil eggs, I put magic marker on the top, so you know, this is a hard-boiled egg. So all you do is, on the bottom of this little thing that comes with it, there's this sharp, pointy pin. And so on the fat end of your egg, you poke a hole in it. Then you can line up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 eggs if you want to. You can do 1 egg, 2 eggs, 3 eggs, up to 6. And so then you put your egg here. Then I've got a mark here. I marked with blue magic marker how much water for poached. But it has all different lines. And if you're going to hard boil an egg, you fill it up to a certain line, soft boiled a certain line, omelet a certain line, poached a certain line. So I, of course, wanted to try it right away. Probably Christmas morning, and because that's when we opened our presents, just me and Jerry, and read the directions. And so if you're going to do poached eggs, you unscrew this little doohickey, the handle. You put this back in. You don't ever put this or this directly on the heat source. So this, you can put 2 eggs in for poached, and this you can put eggs in, like scramble them up and put them in there with onions and peppers and stuff. You don't have, of course, to poke a hole in the egg if you're going to crack it and put it in this little container. You spray it with a little bit of olive oil. I have olive oil spray, or butter, or whatever. Then you put your egg in it. It's so easy. Oh, I wish I could play the sound for you guys. If I don't get this video done today, I'll play the sound tomorrow morning. It plays the most wonderful little song when your eggs are done. So then you put your water in here, up to whatever you're going to make. Pour it in the bottom, put this on it, an egg and an egg. Then you take this lid, and it has fasteners so you can attach it and it stays on, but you don't fasten it. You just leave it loose and put it down there. Then you push the go button. There's the go button right there. And depending on how much water you put in there, it boils it and it steams the eggs. So the more water, the longer it steams. So simple. So it steams much longer to do hard-boiled eggs. I mean, it may take 10, 12 minutes. But to do poached eggs, maybe 4 or 5 minutes. And they are just wonderful. Now everything's hot when you get it done. When it's done, it just makes this really cool tune. And so then I just pop out these 2 eggs and put them on my toast and have my poached eggs for breakfast. Every day I wake up and say, oh, Jerry, I can go make some poached eggs. I know. I'm such a simple person. So this was wonderful, fabulous, amazing gift number 1. Let me see, what's it called? My niece said, what, is that from Dash? And I thought, well, I don't know, who's Dash? Let me look and see who it's from. It's from Dash. Dash Egg Cooker. So I will put that in my store if you're an egg person. Because, oh my goodness. Yeah, I made 6 hard-boiled eggs the other day and put them in the fridge, so Jerry's been eating hard-boiled eggs. There's just 1 left, so I'll have to make him some more. Okay? So that was super, super fun. Love it very much. Christmas present. Now, what do you think present number 2 was? Can anybody guess? No. Nobody in the whole wide world can guess what present number 2 is. But it's just as wonderful as that one. It's plugged in over on the table next to my recliner, and it's plugged in a plug that's on the floor underneath the chair. So I'm not going to crawl under the chair. I love you guys, but I'm not crawling under the chair for you to unplug that thing. So I'm going to take you over there and show you what it is. Let me put these eggs away. Okay, here is my wonderful, wonderful surprise Christmas present from Jerry. It's lit up on red because I have it heated to the temperature that coffee is when it comes out of the Keurig. But it's got 3 temperatures, I think, so you can choose 3 temperatures, and each temperature has different lights. How pretty is that? And that's off. And then I don't even know what that button does and what that button does, to tell you the truth, because I only use this button. So I opened this and I wanted one forever and ever and ever and ever, but I was just too cheap to buy myself one. They're not that much. What was it, $30, $35? I don't know. You'll see in my Amazon store. But isn't it wonderful? And so this is where I sit every morning. I get my laptop, I sit in this chair and I drink coffee. And of course every morning it gets cold. So now that I have that, my coffee stays hot. It'll stay hot all day long if you leave it there. Now you have to be careful not to leave it on when you're not in the house. And of course, if you have kids or pets, you probably aren't interested because it's hot. But if you're like me and you love, and I can only have 1 cup a day now, and so I just love that it stays hot from the top to the bottom of the cup. And you can see that that cup actually has a little pedestal on the bottom of it, my Pioneer Woman cup, and it still keeps it hot. It's just the most wonderful thing. In fact, I loved it so much that Jerry decided he needed one. So he's got one over there on his table, and then he bought me another one for upstairs on my table upstairs. So we have 3 of these now. We really like them. So this doesn't have anything to do with Christmas. This has to do with yesterday. Yesterday was January 11, 2025. Yeah, I forgot to tell you the date, didn't I? So, you know, we moved here just on a whim. And we are discovering more and more and more every day that we're here because the Lord found this place for us. Because He knew. He knew I needed my sister. He knew I needed my nephews. He knew I needed the neighbors. And He knew I needed a dear friend. So, right across the street, a lady named Rhonda lives there. Rhonda is the mother of Victoria. Victoria owned this house. Victoria got a divorce, and so they sold this house. And her mother still lives across the street, but Victoria lives, I don't know, 4 or 5 miles away from here now, in a different house that she bought, okay? So I haven't spent a lot of time with her mother, but I've met her a few times. And I met Victoria's little girl. Victoria's little girl, she was 6 years old when I first met her. And she came over with her nanny one time. If you watch one of my videos, I probably told you all about it. And I can't remember her nanny's name. She's got a cute name, Abby, or is it Abby? Or I don't know, but she has a real cute name. And she was a beautiful young college girl. And she was the nanny. And so, rang the doorbell. And I went to the door, and this darling, darling little 6-year-old girl dressed up in exercise clothes, and she had 2 big ponytails, or what do you call it when they're on the side? They're not pigtails, but 2 big bows, or was it 1 big bow? I don't remember. Or she had this gorgeous bow in her hair. She was the cutest little girl. And her name is Emma. And Emma, of course, lived here with her mother in the front bedroom, which is now a sewing room. And so she said, I used to live here and I want to see my bedroom. So I let her in, and oh my gosh, the nanny was just as precious as could be. I think she was 19 years old, and we talked and talked. That little girl ran all over this house. And she said, let me show you this, and let me show you that, and let me show you this, and let me show you that. It was so stinking cute. Oh, hold on a second. So that's how I got to know Emma, the 6-year-old. So last night, Jerry was in his office filling out some papers to go to the doctor today, and I was over there in my recliner doing something I hardly ever do. It was evening, and we decided not to eat because we ate at the Cheesecake Factory for lunch and actually had cheesecake. We decided we were never going to eat again. We were so stuffed. I got a text from Rhonda, and she said, Emma is here and we'd like to come visit you if it's convenient. And so I thought, oh my goodness, I'm almost done with this movie. So I said, well, let me finish this movie. It's almost over, and I'll text you when you can come over. So turn the movie off. When it got Jerry said, we're going to have company, the little girl's coming back. I was so excited. I know y'all can't tell. I have a really crazy personality. So it was about an hour later probably when they came over. And she walked in the front door with this in a paper bag. And I said, oh my goodness, wine. I said, I've got one in the refrigerator that we got for Christmas, and Jerry and I just can't stand it. I said, it's supposed to be a really good wine, and neither one of us likes it. So I said, if you like it, I'll trade you. But look at this wine. You won't believe it. I just, if it isn't just confirmation from the Lord, I tell you, I love Him more every day. You don't think you could love more than you love when you love all the way already. But I just, how do you do these things? How do you do it? There may be family members that don't show love for us, but I'll tell you, God always shows us. And yes, it's supposed to be a sewing channel. Well, you might want to just turn me off and go back to some of my sewing videos, because this one's about Christmas. Here and there. And Christmas is about Jesus, of course. So I opened this wine. I was blown away when I saw what it's called. I'm going to come put it close to the camera so you can see. It's called Quilt. Napa Valley Quilt. How is that possible? There's not even a quilt on it. I don't know if Rhonda even did it on purpose. She just acted like, she brings a bottle that says quilt on it every time. So you probably saw the back of it before I showed it to you. And Jerry and I both like it a lot. It's very good. It's a white wine, actually. So Rhonda and Emma stayed probably for an hour. And we sat right here, and I put some crackers out, and we had some wine. And the little girl, I had gotten her a little gift, and got out a blackboard. It's a blackboard and a whiteboard, and I'd gotten her some special colors that work on the black side. And so she drew a picture. And stupid me. Oh, stupid me. I feel so bad. I feel like calling her and saying, I'm so sorry. But she drew this picture and I thought it was a monster. And I said, oh, that's a really good monster. She said, it's not a monster. Oh, do you ever wish you could unsay something, especially to a child? Do you ever wish you could unsay? And then not only that, I kept calling her Emily, and her name is Emma. Her middle name is Jane, and I kept calling her Emily because we just had Emily at our house, part of my Christmas, but at our other house. So I tell you, you ever regret saying something? And then I was telling her something about our past, me and Jerry and his ex-wife and stuff, and I thought, well, what did I tell her all that for? Well, she did ask how we met, so I guess you have to tell people how you met when they ask you that, right? Okay, I am going to, I've already shown you my 2 best presents, which will be in my Amazon store. And to go to my Amazon store, there's always a link down below in that description box thing. And maybe I'll start a new Amazon description. I've got quilting, I've got sewing, I've got miscellaneous, I've got books. So I'll do a kitchen department, okay? So you go to the kitchen department if you want either one of those things. I'll be back and I'll tell you how a bear got in my Christmas story. So I decided to get out of the kitchen to tell you the rest of my Christmas story. Our Christmas ended up being so full. And I got so many hugs, so many compliments, so much love that I don't know why. Well, you know, it's just different. You understand, your moms, your grandmas, I know you understand. So anyway, the Lord just, well, I'm just going to show her. So I talked to my sister. Or she talked to me, and what are you doing for Christmas? I said, well, nothing, we're just going to be alone. I said, I'm sure you and John are going to have a house full with all your kids. And she said, well, actually, we're not. She said, we usually go to each of their homes, one at a time. Or they come visit us, you know, they do Christmas Day at home with their kids and come see us later, you know, grown up. So I said, well, do you have plans Christmas Eve? No. I said, well, why don't you come over here Christmas Eve and I'll fix us a dinner for Christmas Eve. So they said, sure. And so John and Janice is married to Jonathan, and we call him John. They came over for dinner, and what did I fix? I fixed ham. I fixed ham and big salad, and I didn't do, you know, all the 50,000 different dishes. Some vegetable and sweet potatoes or something. I don't know, but it wasn't a big turkey type thing. It's the point, okay? It's just a dinner. And I got something for her and John for Christmas. Because, you know, we don't have anybody else. No kids, no grandkids, no great-grandkids. And so I thought, well, I'll get them something for Christmas. So I made her a necklace and gave her some really pretty fabric. And she just went nuts over it. She'd already made the fabric. She already made this big cozy sweater out of it. And she loved the necklace and she loved the fabric. And I gave him a gift card. So that was very, very nice. And I said, well, we didn't get you anything. And I said, well, you have 12 grandchildren. And they actually saw all 12 of their grandchildren. And so they had gotten each of them. You know, nowadays, you know, when the kids are older, you just give them gift cards because you never know what to get anybody. So they had gotten gift cards for all their grandkids. So I told them, don't you worry about that. So that was Christmas Eve. And it was just lovely. And we spent the afternoon with them. And then just quiet Christmas Eve. But then later, Janice, after they went home, she texted and said, Tiger has invited, we call her oldest son, you know, there was one time I couldn't even remember what his real name is. We've called him Tiger since he was born. Janice named him Tiger. We still call him that. He's a very, very important CEO of this gigantic company, and we call him Tiger. But he, you know, like I said, she goes to each of her kids. And so they were going to see him and his wife and his 2 girls. Tiger said that you and Jerry are welcome to come. So I thought, oh, yay, yay, yay. But earlier in the week, I had taken a Christmas card and this little tin of cookies to two of the neighbors. And the new neighbors next door invited us over and I invited them over, and I said, well, if you have plans for Christmas, come over to our house. We're not doing anything. And they said, well, why don't you come over here? She said, I'm going to make a pecan pie. She said, why don't you guys come over here, Christmas, for dessert in the evening. So I thought, oh, yay, great. So we were supposed to go to their house Christmas Day. Now, y'all follow this. At 5 p.m. And so I asked Janice, what time are we supposed to go to Tiger's? And she said, well, we're supposed to be there at 5. And I said, oh my goodness, we can't be there at 5 because I don't want to tell the neighbors we can't come. They just moved here and I don't want to say yes and then say no. So we canceled. And so then she called back and she said, well, we're going to go at 4 now. And so I said, okay. Well, so then I just decided to text Tiger myself. And I said, we would love to come to your house, but we've got plans at 5 o'clock. And he said, Aunt Jo, you can come anytime the whole day. Just come whenever you want to. And they have a brand new house. It's a year old to them, but we had not seen it yet. And so Jerry and I went over there, I don't know, probably about 2 o'clock. And John and Janice ended up going earlier too. Janice doesn't like to be out after dark, and John doesn't like to drive after dark. You know, they're the same age we are, old. So I don't like to be out after dark either. So we ended up going early afternoon. And oh my goodness, the two girls, the last time I saw their two girls, they're twins, but they're not identical. They were 12 maybe, 11 or 12, and I saw them at John's church and didn't get to talk to them much or get to know them much. But this was Christmas Day, and we walked in, and now they're almost 16. They both have brand new cars. They're 16 in February, and so they have to drive with their mom until they turn 16. And you want to see a picture? I hope it's okay if I show their picture. I think it's okay if I show their picture. I'll show you their picture right here. So the tall one is Aaron, and the not so tall one is Lila. And they both are majorly talented. They can paint, they can play several instruments, they can draw, they make jewelry, one of them sews. It's just unbelievable how talented they are. The older daughter, Erin, actually painted a gorgeous, great big, it must have been 3 foot by 4 foot. Huge. I wish I'd taken a picture of it. I don't know why I didn't think to take a picture of it. I'll have to ask their mom to send me a picture of it. Four hours the night before. She started it at 10 p.m. She painted it until 2 a.m. Their dad, my nephew Tiger, is a hunter, and he's hunted all over the world, and they've got animal heads all over their house. The girls hunt, the twins, they hunt. They've killed things, their heads are on the wall. The wife hunts, their heads are on the wall. It's just, they're everywhere. They're just so talented. So I just adored them instantly, just instantly. I said, show me your room, show me what you do, show me what you got for Christmas. So I loved that very, very much. And So there's another brother, his name's Lauren. Janice has 4 kids. Tiger, Jeffrey, who's building the barn, Lauren, and Mark. Lauren and Mark we had not seen yet since we moved here. Of course, we see Jeffrey almost every day. So Tiger said, Lauren's coming over after a while. You want to stay and see Lauren? I said, well, sure, we want to stay and see Lauren. He was coming by himself without his kids. So he didn't get there when he was supposed to. Evidently, he's always late. So we didn't get to see him. But we were there for several hours, and we saw the gorgeous, gorgeous new house, and I heard all the updates on what they were doing, and oh, it was just a festival of love and hugs. It was, oh, I mean, they even had a dog out. You know, usually I don't like people's dogs. They just get on my nerves, and I'm the one person in the house that doesn't like dogs in the house, and they always want to be in my lap. We had a neighbor once that had 7 of them. 7! They invited us over, and I'm there, Jerry's there, the man and the woman who live there are there, and those dogs are all on me, on the couch. But whatever, I digress. So, loved, I can't remember what kind of dog she said it was. Beautiful dog, big dog. I like big dogs and I like hairy dogs, and it was the kind of dog, she called it English setter or something. It had some short hair and then places where its hair was long. It was just the most interesting dog, and just so gentle and easy and trained and lovely. The closest it got to me was its nose on my leg. They had another little dog too, but evidently that dog was pretty old and it just like slept most of the time. So we needed to be at our new neighbors at 5, remember? So we had to leave. Lauren didn't show up. We had to come. And we went to the neighbors, and that was the next wonderful Christmas thing. Our Christmas was so full. I hope you like long videos. Our Christmas was so full. So the people next door are probably our age, just moved in, I don't know how long ago, but they haven't sold their other house yet, like us. They have another house, and their other house hasn't sold yet, and they're from Santa Fe. And so they go to Santa Fe half the time, and then they're here half the time. So we had not gotten to spend much time with them. We saw them at the homeowners meeting, and that was it. And so we went over there for her pecan pie, and I took a pie. I baked a pie and took it over there. And then the other neighbors that we know very well, Larry and Sally, were there. But these people are the most interesting people. It reminded me of my daughter. When my daughter was a teenager and she was in high school, she told me that when she grew up, she wanted to be a stewardess and an archaeologist, because that way she could fly for free to all these places and dig up bones. Can you believe that? My daughter, yeah. She became a nurse instead. I guess that's as close as she ended up getting to people's bones. So, they have been all over the world. They've been to Peru, they've been to Africa, they've been to Europe, they've been absolutely everywhere. Places where it's unsafe. It was very, very unsafe in Peru, and they almost didn't get out of there. But they have collectibles all over their house. Things that were dug up underground someplace, and they brought them home. And so when you go through their house, they have all of these very, very unusual. He has 1,000,000 arrowheads. He had in this bookcase these 2, I didn't look at them close, but Jerry did. They were like about this tall, and one was like a wooden head and chest of something, and the other one, maybe one was male, one was female. But he said that he was actually on that show, that antique show, where you say, oh, look what I found in my grandmother's attic, and then they tell you how much it was worth. He was on that show, and he was on the TV, and some of you may have seen him. And whatever this thing was that he had from underground in Peru or Mexico or wherever he found it was worth $500,000. I know. To me, it just looked like, that'd make nice firewood. I'm telling you, isn't it amazing how something that looks like no big deal can be worth so much money? So that was the neighbors, and we just loved. They're very, very intelligent and world traveled, and You know, I'm the only one in the whole neighborhood that doesn't have a college degree. Sally has 3 or 4. She's a doctor, PhDs in this, that, and the other thing, mostly literature type things. Her husband's an OBGYN. The 2 next door, one's a electrical engineer, and she's got a degree in something, I don't remember what. Of course, my husband's a pharmacist, and I'm a nothing. I always say, well, I graduated high school. And I did. So that was Christmas Day. So the next day, after Christmas, we got a text from Lauren, Janice's 3rd boy. 3rd man, he's 40 years old or more, 45. And he said, I'm going to Tigers. Why don't you and Uncle Jerry come to Tigers? Because I didn't get to see you yesterday. So we went to Tigers again. And we spent the afternoon there, and Lauren was there. And Lauren has 3 kids, and his 3 kids are just beautiful. He's got a little girl, and then a boy, and then another girl. And so, you know, they're like we were when we were siblings, me and my 3 siblings. And they just sat on the couch, and they were good as gold. They were just so well behaved. They were probably bored out of their minds. Why are we here with all these old people? The 2 twins that lived there had some friends from school there, and so they were off in another room somewhere playing their new instruments they got for Christmas or something. The older girl is in the school band, and the other girl plays a guitar and a piano and a violin, and this is just amazing. So we sat and we got to talk to Lauren, and he brought gifts for everybody, and so it was just, that was the day after Christmas. And so we saw 3 of our nephews for Christmas. I mean, how did that happen? We saw 3 of our nephews. Now, what are their kids to us? What are your niece and nephew's children to you? Are they your great niece and nephews? Are they your grand nieces and nephews? Anyway, we got to see 5 of them. So that was really nice. So after Christmas, what happened? After Christmas, we had to go to our other house. You know, we have to go there and we have to check on things and we have to make sure everything's okay. And so we went down there for a few days. Well, while I was there, no plans, had no idea, but while I was there, I got to see my good friend Doreen, and she brought her new little granddaughter, Emma Lee. That's why I kept calling Emma Jane Emma Lee yesterday. I'd just been with Emma Lee, the 1-year-old, so I had Emma Lee on the brain. But got to spend, we met them for lunch in town, then we went to our house, and oh, that little girl, she's just absolutely adorable, and I adore Doreen. I met Doreen because I hired her to care for my mother. When my mother was in my house, I took care of her in my home for 1.5 years. She had dementia. A lot of you saw the videos of my mom when she lived with me. Well, Doreen was a nurse, and I didn't really hire her to be a nurse, but she still was a nurse. Does that make sense? She had another job, but you know how nurses are. They work 3 days a week, and then they have days off, and so she wanted an extra job. So she came, my mother just fell in love with her. She just said, I'm not doing anything until Doreen gets here. So my mom passed away, but Doreen and I have still stayed very, very good friends. And so then Terry, my redhead friend Terry, my neighbor down there that I never see, said, come over and I'll fix you some coffee. So I went over to her house, and I was down there, I don't know, for an hour or 2. We sat at the bar drinking. My goodness, I don't know what kind of coffee she had. She had some kind of special coffee that her husband's son bought into this company. He worked for this coffee company, ended up buying a partnership in it or something. It was some kind of, whatever kind of coffee it was. You get the beans, and then she ground the beans, and then she had something that she made with the milk that she put this thing in, and she beat up the milk somehow, and it made this big fluffy foam, and then she put that milk in the coffee. Oh, I thought I'd died and gone to coffee heaven. It was so good. So you always get the most wonderful hug from my friend Terry. I'm telling you, they last a year, and they need to, because that's about all I see her once a year. So it was wonderful to get to see her. So just think about it. How full was my Christmas? How full was my Christmas? I'm just, I'm so, so thankful that no matter how your family falls apart, God never leaves you. He never leaves you. I mean, he's the one that found Jerry for me. You know, I was divorced for 5 years, and you talk about depressed and sad and rivers of tears. Oh my. How did I ever find Jerry? I never would have met him. It's impossible. There's no way on earth Jerry and I ever would have crossed paths. Impossible. He grew up in Watonga, Oklahoma. I grew up in Phoenix, Arizona. You know, it's just no way. I never would have gone to the pharmacy he worked at. I was in a completely different town. There's just no way. God is just so good to me. My mom used to say she was God's favorite. She had this home health company that took care of her. They would come once a week. Some of them would come once a week. Some of them would come every morning. Nobody would come on the weekend. She had this male nurse that used to come and check on her. And we were sitting on the patio. Mom and Doreen were on the patio, and I was on the patio with them. And so the nurse came back on the patio. And we were talking, and at some point Mother said, well, I'm God's favorite. And the man nurse said, oh, well, I'm sure all of us have favor with God. And my mother said, no, I'm God's favorite. Well, I'll tell you what, after this Christmas, I think I'm God's favorite. And I have more to tell you. I have more things to tell you, but are we going to run out of time? I haven't even told you about how I had Christmas with a bear on Christmas Day. You want to see me with the bear? You remember I told you my oldest nephew Tiger is a hunter, and he went to Africa and he killed this bear, and he's got this bear standing up in his living room in the corner. And the girls, Lila and Aaron, they decorated all of the animals on the walls and in the house. They decorated everything. They're just amazing. They must have had several, 3, 4, 5 Christmas trees. So it's just gorgeous. But I asked Tiger, I said, can I go stand by the bear and get my picture? And he said, sure. So here it is. Check out this picture. So that's it. I'm going to stop this video right here. I'm quilting something. I'm sewing something. I don't know why anybody wants to see me do that anymore, but some of you have said you missed me, and thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so glad somebody misses me. I miss you too. But sometimes I just think, you know, I don't do that many things, and everything I do I've done before. Why does anybody want to watch me? So thank you that you do. And I'll be back soon with some kind of project. How about that?